The Eureka is the latest phone to have entered the battle royal against Xiaomi, the disruptive startup that has now created an e-commerce frenzy among manufacturers. Micromax intelligently roped in Cyanogen Inc. for its first U-branded device priced at Rs 8,999 rupees. The Redmi Note 4G is its direct competitor at Rs 9,999 rupees. Both the smartphones are competitively priced for the specifications they sport, so we decided to compare them and see which comes out as the better phone in this battle. Let's start with the display. Both these smartphones have a 5.5-inch 720p IPS screen with a pixel density of about 267 ppi. The viewing angles, brightness, contrast, sharpness and color reproduction are better in the Eureka. Since the Redmi Note 4G screen is reflective, sunlight legibility is not the best. As you can see, the contrast is better in the Eureka compared to the Redmi Note 4G, in which the contrast and colors are pretty muted. Both these smartphones have Corning Gorilla Glass 3 protection. When it comes to similarities, both the phones come with similar dimensions, have a 5-megapixel camera at the front, and have capacitive touch buttons below the display. The touch buttons of the Eureka are illuminated, while the ones on the Redmi are just colored. Coming to the quality, both the smartphones have a good build, but the Eureka's matte back cover looks premium and doesn't attract fingerprints, unlike the Redmi Note 4G's shiny plastic back cover. At 155 grams, the Eureka is considerably lighter than the Redmi Note 4G that weighs 185 grams. That aside, the round design and the shiny finish makes the Redmi Note 4G slip easily from your hands. With the back panels of both the phones extending to the sides, the difference lies in the materials used. The Eureka has a matte finish with a subtle texture, while the Redmi Note has a glossy finish. The hardware buttons on both these phones have a chrome finish, but the placement is slightly different. Coming to the camera, both the smartphones have a 13-megapixel unit with a single LED flash. The Eureka has a Sony Exmor RS IMX135 sensor and 5P lenses. The Redmi Note 4G, on the other hand, comes with a Samsung sensor. Both the smartphones can record videos at 1080p resolution at 30 fps. The Eureka can also record slow-motion 720p video at 60 fps. Comparing the image quality in all aspects, the Eureka captures better photos overall with more details and shadows. Low-light images had a lot of noise, but images with flash don't look washed out. We noted that the Redmi Note 4G had weird vignetting and images are not properly focused. Low-light photos are softer but devoid of noise and images with flash are washed out. U has a much better output compared to the Mi in all conditions. Software-wise, both the phones run on Android KitKat. The Eureka runs on a highly customizable Cyanogen OS 11 based on Android 4.4.4 that is almost stock, while the Redmi Note 4G comes with the MIUI V5 ROM based on Android 4.4.2 KitKat. Xiaomi usually pushes out regular updates adding new features and fixing bugs. They also have a beta version of MIUI ROM for their devices so that users could try out new features early. Similarly, U has promised to offer monthly updates for the Eureka users, and both the companies have promised to offer Lollipop updates for both the smartphones. Connectivity options include 4G LTE with bands supported in India. The Eureka has 2 micro SIM slots while the Redmi Note 4G has a normal sized SIM slot. The Eureka supports 4G on one SIM at a time, and both the phones come equipped with all the other usual connectivity options. The Eureka is powered by an octa-core 64-bit Qualcomm Snapdragon 615 processor with the Adreno 405 GPU. The Xiaomi Redmi Note, on the other hand, comes with the Snapdragon 400 quad-core processor, which has cores clocked at 1.59 GHz and comes with the Adreno 305 GPU. Both these smartphones have 2 GB of RAM. Of course, the octa-core 64-bit Snapdragon 615 is way better than the Snapdragon 400 in terms of performance, since the 8 ARM Cortex-A53 SoCs are powerful compared to the 4 ARM Cortex-A7 chip. But the Snapdragon 615 chip in Eureka gets heated quickly on gaming and 3G 4G usage compared to the Snapdragon 400 on the Redmi Note 4G. Gaming is also better in Eureka since the Adreno 405 GPU is more powerful. As mentioned, those smartphones have 2 GB of RAM. The Eureka has 1912 MB of usable RAM, out of which 1.3 GB of RAM is free when the phone is idle. In the Redmi Note, you get 1872 MB of RAM, out of which 1.27 GB is free when it's idle. In the internal storage, the Eureka has 16 GB while the Redmi Note 4G comes with 8 GB. They have 12.8 GB and 6.1 GB free respectively. Coming to battery life, the 2500 mAh battery in the Eureka lasted for 8 hours and 8 minutes in a battery test, while the Redmi Note 4G's 3100 mAh battery lasted for 9 hours and 16 minutes. The Redmi Note 4G performs better in other battery tests, hence the overall result is better than the Eureka. but the Eureka lasts longer for video playback. In the end, the U Eureka is better in several aspects compared to the Redmi Note 4G and is also slightly cheaper. It is definitely a good value for money smartphone, but the major problem is the availability, which applies to both the smartphones. Only 10,000 smartphones went on sale today for the Eureka, but the company has promised to increase the units in the upcoming sales. Xiaomi, on the other hand, sold 40,000 units of the Redmi Note 4G in the first sale and 50,000 units in the second sale. The Redmi Note 4G is also available from Airtel showrooms in 6 cities across India. Concluding, the advantages of the U Eureka are camera, performance and dual SIM support with 4G connectivity on both. Advantages of the Redmi Note 4G over the U Eureka include slightly better battery life, better availability and no heating issues. So that's about it for the comparison between the U Eureka and the Redmi Note 4G. Do let us know what you think in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos like these. Thanks for watching.